Good morning, friends. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be working on the MODA Modern Building Blocks Quilt Along from MODA, and obviously I purchased my kit from Quilting. If you're interested in sewing this along with me, I know they still have some kits left, so I will link that down below if you would like to grab one. Also, I've heard some people say that they found the patterns on Etsy, so if you've got a bunch of fabric in your stash, you can go search for it. What you're going to need is this little pattern card right here. So if you find something that says MODA Modern Building Blocks, make sure it comes with this little pattern card because that's got all of your block patterns in it. So go ahead and get your fabric cut for today's block. Today's block is this guy right here. It's another big one like on the wall behind us. It's gonna finish at 36 inches square or 36.5 unfinished, so another really big block. It only has 3 colors this week, so it's gonna go together a little bit quicker. The cutting went a little bit quicker for me. I'm going to just show you a couple steps along the way, and then we'll put the whole block together. It's fairly straightforward, flying geese and setting triangles. So I don't think you'll struggle with you'll have any issue other than it's a huge block. So again, it won't all fit in my camera. So we're going to struggle with that issue a little bit until we get past these big blocks. There's only a couple more big blocks. Let's see, there was 2 36-inch blocks, 1 30-inch block. I'm reading off the back because it says all the blocks. And 1 24-inch block. Then we have 5 18-inch, 9 12-inch, and 36-inch blocks. Wow, 36-inch blocks. That's a lot. So once we get down out of these bigger blocks, it'll be a lot easier to sort of do more of a tutorial style with you guys. Right now, it's kind of just trying to fit it into the camera. So I'm going to show you a few steps, put things together. But luckily, this block, like I said, is fairly straightforward and easy. So I think you'll be okay. If not, you could always reach out. I'm happy to help. I'll put my email down below if you need any help, or if you have any questions on where you can purchase the kit for this or the patterns or anything like that. But again, I'll link Soya's website down below because that's where I purchased my kit from, and it was a really great value. There was a ton of fabric in this kit. If you want to see all of that, I showed it in a previous video. You can go take a peek, but I love this so far, and I think this quilt is going to be gorgeous. If you're looking for a schedule of when I'm going to do the blocks, and I promise I'm going to get to sticking with that schedule. This week was kind of crazy with my husband out of town, and you can probably still hear it a little bit. I'm better, but I'm a little bit congested still. I had a pretty significant head cold over the weekend leading into this week, so I kind of was in bed for about a day and a half and didn't do a whole lot, so I'm playing catch up. So I do apologize for it being a day late. But I will stick to that schedule as closely as possible. That is in the community tab right here on my YouTube channel. So if you go to my home page, you'll see home, videos, all those kind of things, and you'll see a community tab. If you click that community tab, that's a good place, and not just for me, but for any creator that you follow, to see news, information, schedules, things like that. And I've got a schedule for several of the blocks posted up there, and then as we get closer to the new year, I'll post another schedule that was kind of got us through this the year so far, the rest of 2023. I can't believe I'm saying the rest of 2023. Where did this year go? I can't believe I'm even having to think about 2024 yet. But anyway, so that's where all that information is. So lots of things right here on the channel in the community tab and under the videos. And if you're not super familiar with the description box under a video, there's a gray box that's right underneath me, and it talks about what we're doing here, the program. And if you click more, then you can see more information, and it'll have the link to all the websites. So I know I've had some people say, where do I find that link? It's in the description box. So it's that gray box right underneath the video. Just click more and you should see all the information. All right, so that's enough talking. Let's get sewing. So the very first thing I'm going to do here is take all of our A pieces and our B pieces, which are these 2 different shades of blue. This is like almost like a navy blue, and this is like a teal blue. That's not the color names of these 2. I can't remember the color names, to be honest with you. Right offhand, I'd have to take a look. But these 2 colors right here, and we're going to take all of these sets of colors, and we're going to pair them up. And you're going to have your darker one on the left and your lighter one, the teal, on the right. And we're just going to sew all these together in pairs, just like this. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 14 pair of these, okay? So we're going to start by doing that first. So I'm just going to lay that on top of there and then take it over to my sewing machine and sew that up. Turn my sewing machine on, that would help. And bring my foot pedal over. My foot pedal likes to run away. I think it does it when my machine wants a break, doesn't want to sew anymore for the day. Okay. Now, when I put two triangles together like this, I tend to sew from the straighter edge. That way, this end doesn't get down under, it doesn't try to get pulled down underneath my feed dogs. That's just a little something that I do. So that's one right there. I'm going to press this towards the darker fabric. Okay, I'm going to finger press it first. Let's see. Oh, it would help if I turned my iron on. Pressing usually works better with a hot iron. Okay, so you're going to make 14 of these. Really simple. I would chain piece them all to go really fast. I think the longest part of this block was all the cutting. And the cutting's not too bad, but I'm slow at cutting because I think I'm too OCD. I get in my head. It's not quite hot enough yet. So that's what usually takes me a while. Doing all these is the cutting. And then once I've got the cutting done, things go together fairly quickly. Okay, after you've got all 14 of these done on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them. Let me just double check that. Yes, 10 of them. We're going to add 2 background rectangles to each one, or rectangles, sorry, triangles to each one of these to make a flying geese unit. So you're going to do that to 10 of these after you've got all 14 of these made. 4 are going to be set aside without the flying geese, and make sure you put 4 aside because when I started this a little bit, I sewed a few ahead of time. I didn't put 4 aside, and so I had to pick out a flying geese off of one of these because I had gone a little crazy with my flying geese and put it on too many. So you'll need to make 14 of those. And then this next part I'm going to let you guys do on your own. It's just a regular flying geese unit. I've made all of mine already. So you're going to make 10 of these. So you're going to add your background triangle to the one side first, and then flip it, press it, and then you're going to add it to the other side. So you're just going to make 10 flying geese. Can't wait to get this in the block so it stops shredding. Okay, so then after you get done with that, you're going to take these flying geese and you're going to make 2 pair that has one of these guys at the top, okay, and then 2 flying geese in a row. So let me grab, let's see. It's going to look something like this. I've already made one. I've got to make the other. Okay, and then you're going to do the same thing with 3 flying geese in a row with 1 on top, okay? And I think I've got one of those too. Yeah, let me grab that. So it's the same thing as the last with the 1 and then the 2, but you're going to make 2 that has 1 and then 1, 2, 3, okay? So let's get those all together. So I'm going to sew this one and this piece and my other flying geese together with this, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how to put all those together. Again, I'm working with a limited space here, so that's why I kind of made some of these ahead of time to show you guys. So make all 14 of these, 10 of these, and then put them together with this piece and 2 times 2, this piece and 3 flying geese times 2, okay? So go ahead and do that. I'm going to finish put this piece all together, and then we'll come back and see how these fit together along with our large setting triangles, okay? Okay, so one little tip I wanted to share as I was sewing these together is that it's really, really hard to get all these different colors, the two colors, lined up all the way up. So, or at least I was finding it hard. So what I started doing is right here, hopefully you guys can see this, I made a little mark with a friction pen where the two colors came together. So that way when I put the next piece, I knew exactly where to line up where those two came together. I'm going to line up that seam right on that mark I made. And then I'm going to pin, you guys know I'm not a pinner, but I'm going to pin this to make sure it doesn't move and then sew it on. I just wanted to come on and show you guys that so you knew how to line up these pieces so that, you know, you can get that line all the way down all of these different sections, because you're not going to be happy with it if your pieces are like one color's over here, one color's over here. So I just wanted to show you that little tip that instead of finding the middle of each one, I found where the two colors came together, drew the line straight up, laid the next seam on each one just like that. Okay? So I'm going to take this and I'm going to pin it and I'm going to go sew it. Okay, so I've gotten all my pieces sewn together. So I've got two of these with the 3 flying geese in the top piece. And then I've got 2 of the ones where there's a top piece and 2 flying geese. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 2 larger ones with the 3 flying geese, and I'm going to put these 2 together. So they're going to be going opposite directions. So they're going to come together. So here's one piece, and here's my other piece, and they're going to go opposite of each other. So the geese will be pointing away from each other, and they're going to meet right here in the middle. And the good thing is if you pressed all of your fabric towards the darker blue, these 2 should nest really nicely in the center. If you want to pin there to make sure they nest up even better, you can. But we're going to form this sort of quarter square triangle, although it's really not that because we made this pieces separate, but you get the idea what it's going to look like, sort of an hourglass block. We're going to form this in the middle, and your flying geese are all going to point away from it, okay? So we're going to sew that together first. And that's going to be a big part of what's section of this block. So not too much more to do left yet. So I'm going to do something that I rarely do, and I'm going to pin just to make sure this stays right together in the center there. I get nervous when I pin because I tend to draw blood, and number 1, it hurts. I don't want to prick myself. But number 2, I don't want to get blood in my fabric. Okay, pin that right in the center. I'm just going to pin it in the center, not anywhere else. And then I'm just going to start on one side and go across. Now, luckily, this one, there's no points to worry about. It's just putting the 2 sides together, so makes it a little bit easier than when we put those flying geese all together in a row, because you had to worry about getting the colors lined up together. And whoa, what's going on with my thread here? And also had to worry about not losing your points. So there was a couple things when putting these rows of the flying geese together we had to be a little bit careful with, but this one you could just sew. As long as you've got those centers nested, it should turn out. And yes, I sew over pins. I've had that question when I do pin. I don't recommend this for most people. Okay, I'm going to say that right off the bat. I had somebody text me after I sewed over pins one time recently and said, "Why are you doing that? Is that okay?" And it was all in fun. The person was not upset with me or anything like that, but I wanted to let you know that my machine is a semi-industrial machine. It's equipped to do that. I've never broken a needle, although, knock on wood, never say never. I have bent pins, but this machine is a semi-industrial, so the needles are different than the needles that you guys sew on at home. These are high-speed needles made out of titanium, so they're super strong. So am I worried about sewing over pins? No. Am I careful when I sew over them? Yes, but I'm not worried about it. So I just wanted to let you guys know, because I get that question every time I sew over pins, and I just did. So I wanted to let you know that it's okay for me. Now, is that the case with, do I sew over pins with every machine I own? No, absolutely not. I would never do it on my long arm. I would never do it with, I have a not semi-industrial machine, a Janome 3160. It's just a regular computerized smaller machine. I would never do it with that machine, because that machine, it would break and it would probably go down in like my bobbin area and ruin that. So I don't recommend sewing over pins ever, but I know this machine can handle it. So I just wanted to let you guys know that, because I do get that question every time I sew over pins. I wouldn't do it if I didn't think my machine can handle it, and if I was worried about it breaking or anything like that. So I love my machine. I would never do anything to make it break. Okay, so there we are, joined in the middle, and that nested up really nicely. That made a really nice square there. So I'm really happy about that. Okay, so now we've got this big long piece. Remember I told you this block is going to be 36 inches. This thing's huge. So I'm going to put this piece aside, and I'm going to grab my smaller piece here. Okay, and again, I'm going to do some pinning, which I don't do, because the next piece is that we have to make, and I already made one with the other smaller piece, is that we have to take the small piece and add these setting triangles to it, okay? And you have to add one to each side. So I've already done that here. And again, this thing's giant, so sorry if you're not seeing it all. It's humongous, and I know my camera is not able to catch it all, but hopefully you get the idea. So that piece is done. So I need to do the same thing that I did on that for this piece. And I'm going to give this one a really quick press. I think I might have folded it and set it down after I cut it, because it's kind of wrinkly. Not too bad, but enough that it bugs me. Now be careful with these pieces, because they are, you know, kind of cut on the bias, so you don't want to stretch them out. I do best press all my fabric before I start, and that does help a bit with it, but you still can stretch, so you just have to be careful. All right, so I'm going to take this side, start with this side first, and we're going to add this triangle on just like this, so it makes a big long side over here. So I'm going to flip it back this way, and I am going to pin this. When I did that first one, I did that one first just to make sure it would come out right, so I didn't show you guys the wrong thing. I didn't pin it the first time, and it didn't come out very well because it shifted, because this block is so big. And so I took it apart and I redid it with pinning, and it came out perfect. So even though I'm not a pinner, I am going to pin this, so this triangle doesn't move. And because it is, you know, on the bias, if we pin it in place, hopefully that'll keep it from stretching and getting funky. And I'm actually pinning both sides. I'm even pinning the side that I'm not gonna sew. And I know that sounds weird, but it'll keep that whole triangle from moving. And like I said, I already sewed on the first piece that I showed you. I sewed the one side twice because I put it on and it didn't come out right, and I took it apart and put it back on again. So big blocks are fun. They go together quickly, but the only challenge with big blocks is that you have these big giant pieces that have more potential, I think, to stretch and come out wrong. So that's the challenge with big blocks. The challenge with small blocks, as you'll see when we get to the 6-inch blocks, is all the pieces and all the seams. So there's different challenges with different things that you do, because I've heard people say, oh, I don't want to do a large block because of this, or I don't want to do a small block because of this. No matter what block you do, there's going to be challenges. So I say just go for it. Just take the plunge. Oh, my thread came out of my needle, so that won't work. All right, behave now. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead, put this under here, being careful again not to stretch that triangle. I pinned it enough, I think it'll be fine. It would be really easy to get this out of shape though, really quickly, so just be super careful. Okay, so let me take all these pins out and we'll see what we have here. Hopefully, if I did this correctly, it'll be okay. Okay, perfect. Yep, I just need to trim off that little dog ear there. But other than that, that looks good. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim this, press this, and then I'm gonna do the same thing that I just did on this other side, okay? And then we'll come back and we'll put the whole block together. Okay, so here's that center section again. Now I attached the one side to the centerpiece. So here's those flying geese. Here was the setting triangles. And when you put this side piece with the setting triangles onto your long center flying geese piece, you can nest them right here and it lines up perfectly. It looks really, really good. I'm really happy with that. So I got that one side done, and we're gonna have to do the same thing with the other side. So here's the center of our block where all those four pieces came together. And here's my second side with my setting triangles. Okay. So we're going to attach these together right here. So again, I'm going to pin here. I'm going to pin here. I'm going to pin here. And the same thing here. I'm going to pin here. And then we can sew this whole long piece on, and that will make the rest of our block. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll show you the block completely finished. All right, well, thanks for joining me today to sew up the next block 2 of the MODA Modern building blocks. Here it is. I don't know if you guys can, hopefully you can see this. I love the color. It's beautiful. It's huge. Another baby size quilt. So we have our 2 biggest blocks done, which is really nice because there we go. There's more of it. Oh my gosh, I love these colors. I'm seeing it in the video as I'm talking to you guys. It's just beautiful. I love how it came out. It turned out really, really nice. So we're done with our 2 biggest blocks. Yay. I don't know why, but the big blocks, even though they're simple and the pieces are bigger, so they seem easier, it just feels like when you get done that you've run a marathon. Not literally, but they're just big and they like take a lot of, I don't know. Anyway, I'm glad we're done with them. They're beautiful though, so I'm glad we had them. I love this one. You guys know I love the blues, so oh my goodness. All right, so next week we're gonna work on this guy up here. That's our 30-inch block, and there's only one of those. And then we go to a 24-inch block. And then after that, we do 18 inches, 12 inches, and we go down to 6 inches. I kind of like that they did them this way. I was thinking at first, like it might have been better if they mixed it up, like did one 36-inch and some smaller ones. But honestly, kind of glad to get the big giant ones out of the way. Plus, it kind of feels like you have made this huge accomplishment because this, between that one and that one, that's really like 2 baby quilts. Or if you put them together, it's like 72 inches wide already of quilt. So we've already made almost a whole quilt just from 2 big blocks. So like I said, next week we'll do the 30-inch one, and then the week after we'll do the 24-inch, and we'll be done with the really big blocks. Then we start the 18-inch blocks, and then we go to the 12-inch blocks, and then the 6-inch blocks. When we get to the 12 and the 6-inch blocks, we'll start doing more than one block a week. It's just that these big blocks take so much time and energy that I think it's easier to do just one of these. We'll get those out of the way. We should be done with, let me think here. almost done with the larger blocks by the end of the year. We might run over by 1 or 2 of the 18-inch blocks. I'm not sure because I don't remember how many weeks are left in the year yet, but let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we'll probably run these to the end of the year. And then the 12-inch ones will probably start at the beginning, like in January. And once we, like I said, once we start doing that, I'm going to do 2 blocks a week. And then when we get down to the 6-inch blocks, I'll probably do even more than 2 blocks. Just, I don't want to drag this on for so long. I mean, there is 48 blocks in this whole quilt top. And if we did 1 a week, it would take us, well, 48, right? Yeah, 48 blocks. So if we did 1 a week, it would take us a long time. It would take us 12 weeks, right? Yeah, to do, if we did 4 a month, it would take us a long time to get this done. And I'm not that patient. I don't know about you guys, but if I drag a project out too long, I start to get bored with it, and I don't want to get bored with this because I really love it. So once we get down to those smaller sizes, then we'll start doing more than 1 block a week. So again, check the community tab right here on my YouTube channel, and you can see the schedule. And like I said, as we get further, probably middle point of December, I'll put up a schedule for the blocks coming up in January and so forth. And we'll see what that looks like, what that schedule brings us to in the future, like the end date. I'm hoping, you know, sometime in the spring we'll get this done and we can get it all put together and quilted and everything. I think it's going to be gorgeous. So anyway, thank you again so much for sewing along with me. Again, if you are interested in this and you're just finding it now, click the more button down below. You can find out information where you can go purchase this kit. I purchased mine from So Yeah Quilting. They're the only ones that are carrying this kit right now. So I recommend going over there and getting it from them. They've got all the fabrics you need already put together in a kit. It's a lot of fabric. So the price that they're charging, I feel like, is a very, very good price for the amount of fabric you get. The kit comes and it's about a stack about this big of just fabric. And then you get, of course, the instructions, the modern building blocks, cards, all that stuff with the kit. So go on over there. If you would like to join and you have stuff in your stash, you do have to buy the patterns. And that's not something they offer separate. I know there's some sellers from talking to other people that have purchased it that on Etsy that are selling it. So go on to Etsy and put modern building blocks patterns. But again, then you're going to have to source all the fabrics. So if you don't have all the fabrics already and you would like to join in, grab that kit from So Yeah. Come on over and join me. It's not too late to catch up, I promise. All right, guys, take care. I hope you have a wonderful day, a beautiful weekend, and I will see you really soon for some more videos. Bye.